On this episode of Plus Club for October, we will be discussing Hell Let Loose, Mortal Kombat X, and PGA Tour 2K21, so stay tuned for that. But also, we're moving into a new month, so make sure to download and play Knockout City, First Class Treble, and Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, all offer for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of November, where we will be discussing our opinions on those games, grading those games, and hoping you will do the same in the comments below. Also, our game of the month is a mystery because we just filmed Game of the Month where we discussed your guys' pick for Game of the Month, which was Grand Theft Auto Online. Make sure to go over to that episode and watch it and find out what our Game of the Month for November is over there. Both episodes are out right now, so make sure to watch both of them. And yeah, before we get into all that though, a couple quick reminders that we got a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and the podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to support this channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing if you're brand new. All right, let's talk about these games. What's going on, guys, and welcome to October's episode of Plus Club, the show where we play the games offered on PlayStation Plus throughout the month, and at the end of the month we talk about it. My name's Seth, and joining me today is Chevy. Chevy, we just had discussion about Grand Theft Auto Online. It was a good conversation. People should go check it out. But are you excited to be discussing Hell Let Loose, Mortal Kombat X, and PGA Tour 2K21? And how you doing since we filmed, which was about 5 minutes ago?
I'm okay. Just doing the day off thing, so not really a lot going on right now.
Just chilling, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited to have this conversation. We got some varied games to talk about. But yeah, quick reminder that Knockout City, First Class Treble, and Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning are our games for PlayStation Plus in November. We talked about what we thought of that in the other episodes, so make sure to check that out. But just letting you know here, that's what those games are, and we will be playing those, so make sure to play them as well. Well, we don't have a whole lot to talk about intro-wise, so let's just jump into this. We played Hell Let Loose. If you don't know what that is a World War II game that's similar to Battlefield. We played Mortal Kombat X. You should know what that is. And PGA Tour 2K21. Maybe you don't know much about golf. That's a golf game where you hit balls with a metal rod. Let's talk about PGA Tour 2K21 first. If you didn't get a chance to play that, like I said before, it is a golf game. You are able to make your own character, dress your own character. You can make, it's actually quite a robust character editor, because I made a really fucking crazy looking dude that I should be showing you guys right now. And yeah, you make a character, you can make your own courses, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never dabbled in that. And you golf. There is a career mode. There's just multiplayer, which seems to have up to 4 players possible. And you hit balls on grass until they go in holes. You try and hit it the least amount of times to do well. We both played it, and let's jump into your impressions of PGA Tour 2K21.
So I actually like golf games. Not enough to go out and buy them ever, but anytime I've had an opportunity to play one, I always have fun with it. I do think they're also good multiplayer games. They're usually slower pace. You get to just kind of hang out and chit chat while you're doing something in the process. And there is a little bit of competitiveness there, but not enough to ever have any strong emotions attached to it. So it's I think it's a good time. It's the same kind of feel as bowling to me, where it's casually competitive.
Well, the thing that's interesting about golf and bowling, I guess, but golf is, and I get probably in real life it's similar. I haven't gone golfing in real life, but it's competitive, but lightly competitive. I almost feel like I'm more against myself than I am against other people. I'm trying to improve and get better shots and get less, but of course, other people might be doing better than me, but I don't focus on it as much in golf as a competitive dude. But it is also a super social game because of, I think, the pacing of it, the sitting and waiting and looking and trying to figure out your shot. There's a lot of it has a different feel than other sports games.
Yeah, for sure. And that's actually my favorite thing about bowling as an example is the self-competitive nature, not the you can obviously, and if you're super competitive, you probably are competing against everyone else as well. But For me, I'm not super competitive, and so
Don't be the dude who's super competitive or fucking bowling or golf.
yeah, but I mean, obviously that
Fucking
it can
rolled the
lend itself
ball.
to that.
Yeah,
So I get what you're saying, and golf does feel a lot like that too.
yeah,
A lot of times I'm not like upset that I'm losing or like thrilled that I'm winning against someone as much as like I'm having a good game or I'm having a bad game.
yeah. It's
Is
different than like
yeah,
I got the ball and all these guys are gonna fucking kill me for it, or
yeah,
like I got the ball and these guys are all gonna get it from me. Like it's just like let's see how I do.
yeah,
Yeah, I could do better than that.
yeah. Definitely, it's definitely more my speed in that regard, and I
Hmm.
like that a lot. Um, I appreciate that this game offers a customization of your character, a shop to buy stuff in with your winnings, course creator. I did not dabble with that, but I'm sure with what I saw on the character side, the the course creator is probably pretty good too. But because I didn't mess with it, it won't go into my grade later. Um, and it has, obviously what you expect a career mode, just wanting to do golf without any of that or a multiplayer mode. Um, Now I get to talk about my negatives. I think the pacing in the multiplayer is awful.
It's weird, dude.
I feel like you're almost racing, and that's not what I want to do when I'm playing golf. And that is attributed to the fact that you don't take turns, you play at the same time, which is so bizarre.
Yeah, dude. I was like, are we are we both playing at the same time? And I just see your ball flying.
Yeah.
You don't even see the other person's character model.
Yeah. And that's another huge like why thing for me is like with such a long drawn like 18 holes takes a while. It's not a
Dude, yeah.
short sit, though they have definitely shortened it by making you go at the same time.
Oh, it's double the speed.
Yeah.
Fucking, you don't have to wait.
But you don't see the other people's characters. So what's the point of making them? You don't even see your own.
Yeah, it's weird.
So,
And when you play career mode, you see no, you see your own character. There's all
yeah,
these cutscenes and stuff, but you don't see the other golfers.
you do see your own. I feel like you're staring at the ball the whole time.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it's a huge mistake because it kind of takes away from the social aspect of the game.
I get gameplay wise why they did it because if you're like impatient and you're playing golf, you're gonna really fucking like you don't have to wait.
Shouldn't be playing
You,
golf simulator then.
sure, no, I agree 100%. This isn't fucking Mario Golf, you
Yeah.
know. This isn't. This is like a sim, and so I do. It's like you said, it's fucking bizarre because like when we're playing Grand Theft Auto online, go check out that episode. We played golf in that, and this is a much better golf game. It's built better,
Yes,
but
technically.
technically, yeah, it's the physics are better, the systems are better, all that stuff. But I enjoyed the pacing of Grand Theft Auto's golf because like you take your shot and I could
Mhm.
watch your shot. I could even watch your shot from my character's perspective, which I thought was really neat, and it gave it that social feeling. And some people might not care about that. They just want to I want to hit it. I want to hit it. But like at the same time, it just feels weird. It feels like you're playing some weird mini game, and it takes away from like you have a game where you made your own characters. Why wouldn't you want to see them all in the same
You don't get to
place?
show them off.
Like my guy's ugly as fuck. He's horrifying looking. I made him so people would see him and go, "Holy shit!" And some people did do that when they saw me playing it, but not when I played with people. No one fucking saw him.
Except for at the loading screen. It's the only time you see each other.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're like posed and shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, quick.
So it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
I would like to see in the future them maybe make. They don't even have to take out the mode they have because there are going to be people out there who are, for lack of a better way to put this, ADHD and just want to like zip through
they
this.
should have like fucking golf multiplayer and then a mode called Rush,
Sure.
and that
Yeah.
could be this.
Options,
Yeah,
choices, like add it in.
yeah.
Totally not a problem with that. And the people who love it still have it. But I want like traditional golf. I want to be able to hang out. And I mean, I even go to as far to be like, you could let me drive to each hole. And I mean, do I need that? No, but it adds to
That'd be
the
cool.
experience of the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
So
especially in a sim.
yeah. So outside of that, it plays great. Like
Ooh,
the golfing feels good.
before we go too far away from that though, real quick, another thing that's annoying is like you start out and it's just balls flying. Like at the same time, I see balls flying in the air and
Yeah.
shit. And then if you finish before the other
Oh,
person, you
yeah, yeah.
better fucking take your time on those shots. Because if somebody else is taking longer to go through the course, and you fucking just hit it 2 fucking hits and make it in the hole. It doesn't have a spectator mode. You
Yeah.
don't watch the other players. It literally places your view at a tree in a field. And you just sit there and stare at that. So anytime I finish before you, I would just get on my phone.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's
Like,
it's fucking bizarre. Like
yeah.
at least let me watch what you're doing so I can go like, oh shit, he's doing bad, or oh wow, that was a fucking good shot. The only time you get to see that is when you're watching your own ball fly and
Yeah.
you see somebody else's ball going somewhere. You're like, oh, it was a good shot as you're passing by. It just completely depletes any sense of fucking that you're playing with somebody else. It feels like I'm playing a single player game while somebody's also playing a single player game on the same fucking course.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So yeah, I think it totally fails in the social element of the game. So, but outside of that, it does feel really good. The golf is really well done, and I like the way, like, specifically, like, putting works. It does a very good job of in a minimal way showing you curvature and how much of a hill, because like it is kind of hard to just look at a grid and go, well, that's uphill, downhill, but severity is difficult.
Mhm.
And by them having these little white like pulses happening at certain speeds to indicate sharpness of hills, really helps. It's a good feature.
Yeah, in contrast, because the oddly, I haven't played a golf game in years, but I've played two in 1 month technically.
Yeah.
And in Grand Theft Auto, it had like wind speeds and stuff like that, but it didn't translate well. So you had to kind of like hit it and guess. This game, I got down to the point where like my putt game was getting better and
Hmm.
my adjusting for wind was getting better. Like I was improving because it gives you the tools to improve your game.
Yeah, yeah,
It also gives you. It seems like it should be unfair, but it gives you once when you're putting a preview line of where your ball's going to go.
yeah,
And I remember when I told you about that, you're like, "Oh shit," because like that's just like one freebie of going like, "Oh, it's probably going to go there."
yeah.
But yeah,
Assuming you put enough power into it, yeah.
hmm
Um,
yeah, that's up to you. What do you think about the power system? Every sports game has a new and different way of trying to give you a system on how to actuate things. Like in this, you like pull back and then push up.
in a flick up, yeah.
Yeah, when it's in a certain area, and some other games will have like different systems. How do you like that?
I think it felt fine. I already knew I did this anyways, but the game just kept shoving it in my face because it would show you. But I pulled the right constantly when I flick up.
Hmm
So, and maybe that's just because the length of my thumbs. I don't know. Um,
It's just, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting way of, simulating drive the way you're hitting that
yeah,
ball.
yeah.
So,
But because I knew I did that, I was able to aim a little bit more to the left than at
yeah.
that point. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think the tools are all there to play golf, and I think
hmm
it really does like excel in that manner. I don't want to play golf games by myself. That's not a fun time. So
Yeah. Yeah. I did play by myself and I was having fun, but I was like, I'm not really a solo golfer. I'm
yeah,
gonna wait till other people want to play this. And it was a lesser experience.
yeah, and then even like just even like my experience with golf games, and I'm not like passionate about like playing a bunch of golf games, but I have played, like from the casual to some of the more like sim like I've played, obviously like your Mario Golf, Grand Theft Auto, this, and then I think it's called the Golf Club on PC, which is
Mhm.
more of like a sim style golfer, and I actually really like that game. I just didn't know anyone else who played it, so it kind of died off me really fast. So
I forgot it existed until you said it,
yeah,
but I'd maybe want to check that out. Fucking remember Wii Golf or Wii Sports? The
oh
golf
yeah,
in that shit was
it's fun.
fun. That
Yeah,
that shit alone sold that fucking console to
that
old
and
people.
bowling.
Old people fucking bought the shit out of Wii's for that.
Yeah,
It's
but
crazy.
yeah, I mean, overall, I had a good time. I think there's some glaring oversights, though.
Some weird decisions
Yeah.
that I kind of get, but I'm like, even if you did go this direction, you could have done it better. You
Mm.
made a full on game here that everything works just fine. Some things are kind of impressive, but then with this, it works, but it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's weird. Um, Anything else?
No.
All right, so I also played this, and like I said before, I played the career for a little bit, and those NPCs, if you don't adjust the difficulty, which I did not, are fucking ruthless. Luckily, the more I played, the more I got better. My putt game got way stronger towards the last couple games I played. That was something I was kind of, not doing as well on. But yeah, those NPCs do not fuck around. I mean, I'm not watching them play, so how do I even know if they are actually playing? But their scores are better than mine, so that was fucked up. Um, but yeah, we were talking about multiplayer. It was fun in the sense that I was also playing golf like I was in career mode against somebody who's not an NPC, but I didn't get the experience of actually being with that person outside of watching their ball go places. So that was not preferable. That's not the experience I wanted. And the biggest sin of it, like I said before, is no spectator mode. That's fucking insane, man. Who the hell wants to? If you're worried about people being fucking, getting bored waiting on someone shooting and shit, so you let them shoot at the same time. Why the hell are you gonna have somebody just look at a fucking tree blow in the wind while you're waiting for somebody to finish up? That's so crazy to me. The game has decent graphics. It's good looking. I mean, it's a sports game, so it's not going to be like amazing, but it's a clean looking game. I think the courses vary in difficulty really well. I played some hard courses and some easy courses, and they all felt good. A lot of new challenges, a lot of places where you got to shoot across like water areas and stuff like that. Sand traps, which are the fucking bane of my existence, but I make them work. But yeah, really good courses. I enjoyed them. A lot of variabilities in wind and stuff like that, which is expected. Kind of throws off your game, which you sit there and complain, but I appreciate it because it makes the game. Maybe someone's kicking your ass, and now they're not having a good time with like 15-mile-per-hour wind. Nobody is, but
That variable's super important.
maybe it's
Yeah.
throwing them off a bit, and it kind of changes it up, which I really dig. I think the physics are really good. I never felt like the game was fucking me in physics, and like that's important because some golf games, like you'll watch the ball fucking roll out of the hole weird and shit, and you're like, what the hell? And that happens in real life, but not as often as some games. But this game, it always felt fair. I did, and because of that, I did feel like I was progressing and getting better because they were all my fault, and it just has a really good system of physics, putters, and I don't know the terminology for all the different types of golf clubs, but good variety of golf clubs and really good systems to give you a idea of the hills. I really appreciate that because that's really important info. And of course, someone who's hardcore is not getting that in real life if they're playing. So it'd be more hardcore if they didn't have that. But for somebody who's just playing for fun or whatever, I appreciate being able to see how dramatic the hills are and giving me that information that makes putting a lot more fun. So yeah, the game's got a good system too with striking the ball and hitting across the fucking course. Anyone who's into golf's like this guy's not using the correct terminology.
Driving.
Driving, yeah, driving a car, and there's none of that in this, but there is in Grand Theft Auto Online. Um, and like the sand pits and all that stuff. A lot of good systems. The games feel streamlined in how it goes about doing all that stuff. So yeah, it's a fun game, and the character creator is a lot more robust than I thought it was going to be. That was really a big surprise for me. It's not like the most amazing thing in the world, but it's way better than you think it's going to be. And yeah, you can dress your character by getting currency in game. The multiplayer is not as good as it should be though. Like it's so fucking weird because if it was, man, like it's a solid ass golf game. Like outside of that, so what they should do, like we said already, is have a fucking full sim mode and have a rush mode. And the rush mode can be that weird shit where everybody's just fucking knocking their balls in every direction and shit. And the other one can just be like, all right, wait your turn. Watch the guy golf, like in real life. That would be preferable. Overall, though, I enjoyed myself. I think it was a good game. And yeah. Anything else?
No.
Let's jump into recommendations. I would recommend it to somebody who likes golf. Um, if you like golf, this is a golf game, and I think it's pretty solid. I don't have experience with golf games as of late, but playing this one, it feels good. It seemed to work really well. It had a lot of options, a lot of systems to curve the ball. We didn't really talk about that too much, but
Mhm.
you could get really intricate on your shots. So if you knew what the fuck you're doing, or you played the game enough, you can really get into the technique of shooting or driving. And yeah, so if you like golf, I assume this is a good golf game. Maybe there's a better one out there. Let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but it's solid. Let's see. If you like casual sports, something that you can play with friends and not feel like you're gonna kill each other over, definitely recommend that as well. And it's not for everybody.
He's a good hangout game.
Yeah.
If you playing with like a friend who lives like across the country or the globe or whatever, and you're just looking for something to do while you're like just hanging out and like talking or whatever, or maybe just like an excuse to like drink with someone who's not with you and
Mm,
still have an activity to do at the same time. I think the game's perfect for that stuff like that. So
yeah. Anything else?
I mean, it's golf, so
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I would say you better like golf or be open to the idea of golf.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're not going to enjoy this game. So,
for sure.
um, yeah. All right. Let's jump into grades. You did impressions first, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it a really strong B. I thought it was solid. I wish the multiplayer was a little more social, a little less isolated feeling. But overall, I think, I mean, it's golf, but like I think everything works the way it should. I didn't ever feel like some system was fucking me. The game's physics were fucking me. Um, I was getting better at it, so I was obviously enjoying it enough to try and improve my game. So yeah, really solid B. I'd maybe even go B plus if I felt more inclined to play the game more because the multiplayer was awesome. But if there's a other golf game out there with better multiplayer, I'd probably play that over this, just because it's not as satisfying as I'd like to be. But it's cool.
Yeah. I'm actually going to completely agree with you. I think it's a B game. And it has the potential to be greater. But I think everything it's weak in is its social elements, and not even just the ones we mentioned while doing this, but they could have fun with that too. We brought up Grand Theft Auto earlier. One thing in Grand Theft Auto is being able to bet each other.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh,
it's
that
a
was cool. Yeah, yeah.
small thing, but you could add something like that. I know that's
That's an awesome
tricky.
social element,
It
honestly.
is.
In a game where you're just accruing money.
Or have like a last man standing. But there's a ton of things you could do to like mix it up, and some of them could be traditional golf, some can be completely ridiculous. Like, I'm not saying you should do this or take these ideas, but I'm just spitballing. Like, there's room for more multiplayer stuff, I think. But overall, I do think it's a fun time. My only problem is I would probably rather, if I was gonna play golf with someone, I'd probably rather do a Mario Golf or a Grand Theft Auto Golf because I do think the social element's probably a little better. So
Yeah, the pacing's much better. I agree. Anything else?
no,
All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think of PGA Tour 2K21. I know people in the community were fucking playing this, so let me know in
yeah,
the comments what you thought of this game. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you have some criticisms of it? Did you think it was completely solid across the board? And most importantly, if you are aware of a better golf game or another one you think we should play, let me know because I'm out of the loop and I enjoyed this, so I could see myself playing a different golf game. Let me know everything you think about in the comments below. The other game we played, second game we played this month was Hell Let Loose. Hell Let Loose is a big map, big team battle World War II game on the more hardcore side, similar to Battlefield, but also pretty different. You play as one of two teams trying to push, essentially, what is that? Like the map. You're trying to take over the map by pushing through the other team and creating respawn points. Otherwise, you got to run across the fucking whole map again, which is wild. It features World War II locations, World War II battles, World War II weapons, and some pretty realistic TTK, time to kill, in which you can get shot and killed in one bullet. Um, it's got cool systems where you can, use the sticks to lean around corners, and it has a really cool radio system that nobody was using on console, where the commander can give commands to squad leaders, and then the squad leaders have to give those commands to their squad members. Nobody used it on console. It's wild, but on PC, you get like people who either were in the military or fucking thought they were because they're talking like it. We both played it, and I'll jump in first. So, I played this on PC already, just to kind of give you an idea of where I'm coming from, and I really like it on PC. I think it's a really fun game. It's a little rough around the edges, but pretty solid. So I was really excited to see it come to console. I feel like a game like this not being on console would suck because people want options. People want different games that aren't just Battlefield and Call of Duty. So that variety is really exciting. And this does come from kind of like an indie background. That being said, the game does translate to console pretty well. I think it looks really good on console. Honestly, I think it was a really graphically impressive game for, I'm assuming, a lower budget. Um, and everything from the PC versions there, my biggest problem is this game has a very hardcore TTK, and the aiming on console, whether you're comfortable with console controls or not, I am, feels very sluggish. You can adjust it, but it just never felt very fine tuned. It felt like a pretty quick port from PC to console. So if I had a big complaint, that's it. But like I said, I am a fan of this game. I think it does serve something greater than what Battlefield offers in terms of big team battles. Similar to like Arma 2, Arma 3, if you ever played those on PC, it has a more hardcore vibe to it, and I think it's very refreshing because it's very unforgiving. Battles feel really intense because you know a bullet can kill you, so you're behind cover a lot more. You're kind of hanging out more often, just hearing bullets everywhere. There's explosions and mortars happening, so there's a really visceral nature to the combat that I really love, and it translates just fine on PS5. So we played it on. I think it was only on PS5. I don't know if it runs on PS4.
Yeah, it was the PS5 game.
Yeah, let me know in the comments if you know if it runs on PS4 or not. But yeah, combat is awesome when you find it. We played a match that only had like 20 people in there on both sides. There was like 20 combined, and that felt insanely isolating. Like I felt like I was alone most of the time, just running across fields. Then I got into another uh, session with you that definitely didn't feel like I was by myself. This game does so like in Battlefield. It's interesting because you run into people all the time, and it's just chaos. There's jets and helicopters and shit's exploding, and it's awesome. But like in this, there's periods where you're like just kind of running across fields, and out in the distance you just hear. And as you're getting closer, it's like getting louder. You can hear explosions. You can hear tank treads through the trees and shit. And you're like, oh, fuck. And there's like this tension to it. And then when you get there, it's just like gunshots. There's people like laying on the ground. There's people behind cover. There's people you don't see. And bullets are whizzing by your head and stuff like that. You're trying to locate them. And it's, for me, a fucking blast. That's my bread and butter. I love something that feels more hardcore, more tactical. This game offers that, and again, it all translates to console very well outside of the aiming. Also, no hit markers, which I fucking love. I love having to confirm if I got a kill or not, or sometimes you can't. You don't know if you killed that guy or not. There's multiple times where I got into firefights and like someone shoots at me and I shoot back at them, and then like I go behind cover, I come back out, and they're not shooting anymore. I'm like, what happened? And I see his like boots behind a wall laying there. I'm like, oh, I fucking killed him, and I move on with my life. There's a tension to it that you don't get in a lot of games nowadays. It's one of the reasons I love Hunt is like the shootouts feel like this is it. Like it's either you or them. Whereas in Call of Duty, there's no cost to dying. You just fucking respawn instantly and kill or die instantly again. So I love that tension. It also lends itself well to people who want to communicate in games. This game does. You don't need to communicate, but you should be. You're going to do a lot better. This game has a lot of visual things you need to be able to relay to other people because the game does not offer you a robust HUD that's trying to tell you everything that's happening, which I really appreciate. The maps are cool. I don't know how many there are. They all kind of look similar, but they're very big and have varied locations from forests to just fucking wide open fields, typically with grass, which is nice because you can lay down, to towns and destroyed, bunkers and trenches. It's got a lot of variety to the maps, and guns feel great, but on console not so much because the recoil and the aiming combined makes for, you better fucking aim that shot real well. Whereas on PC, you should do the same, but it's a lot easier to correct and get those shots faster with a mouse. So it does feel much better on PC. Uh, but yeah, the guns. This isn't Call of Duty. This isn't Battlefield. You shoot a rifle, you shoot a fucking Thompson, and you got some pretty wild recoil you have to account for, which I like because it changes the pace of combat. You can run in and you can get those kills, but you're more effective as a squad and the squad getting kills. When you're down reloading, somebody is accounting for you and shooting people, stuff like that. And when you're shooting and you're, getting your recoil controlled, you got to bank on somebody on your squad's also fucking firing in the same direction at the same people to cover your ass and vice versa. So that's something that I really love and something that you do not get in a lot of shooters, except for on PC. There's a lot of them out there on PC, and they're coming to console, and I really appreciate that. So I am happy that this game is on console, but I will not play this ever again on PS5. I will only play this on PC because I feel so limited by the controller. So, really good game. Translates well on console, but not the way I prefer to play it.
Yeah, I mean, mine's gonna probably pretty short because I think pretty much everything he said I agree with. As far as the game goes, I think it's a good looking game. The sound design's really good.
Oh yeah, sound design's good.
Um, the weapons are a pain to aim, and it's interesting hearing you say that because I struggle with that anyways on console, but
Yeah.
I was having a really hard time with this game. Um,
Yeah, I had to rely on strafing to get my shots most of the time because aiming was too clunky and weird feeling. So I'd have to get it and run to the right and get my shot.
yeah, I mean, it's got interesting systems, it's got a lot of classes. Uh,
Oh yeah, great. It's got like a lot of classes.
yeah, some of those classes have the ability to make respawn points, et cetera, et cetera. Like they did a really good job in a lot of those regards. Um, yeah, I guess my biggest issue is as soon as I played the game, it has PS5 features, which sounds like a weird thing to complain about, but the resistance and the trigger thing, no,
Did you turn it off?
I instantly
Okay.
turn that off.
It's touching on that real quick. The things the PS5 controller can do are amazing. I fucking love them. But people real quickly and any new tech, fucking somebody, people are gonna hop on and be like, "What can we do with it?" All these FPSs have gone like, "Wouldn't it be cool if it felt like you're pulling a real trigger?" And it's like, yes, but in a competitive game where I want to win, that's slowing me down from killing people. So
Yeah,
get that out of here,
or force everyone to use it.
or force everybody to use it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that'd be fair, but yeah, I just prefer them not have it.
yeah,
It's one of the only times the PS5 controller has something. I'm like, don't do this. Let's
yeah,
just not make this a standard thing. Someone shut off every time.
yeah. I went to shoot someone, and I realized like because I don't like really like I'm not aggressive with my controller, so like
Hmm.
I went to pull the trigger and I didn't shoot, and I was like, oh my god, okay,
What's interesting too for somebody who hasn't felt it with the PS5 triggers, they're able to create like tension, so it's
resistant.
a
Yeah,
resistance to pulling the trigger. But the game or the way this game decides to use that is you get a little bit of pull that's loose, but then you get resistance, and then it goes. It has like a pop
F
feeling,
popped.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
ugh.
it's cool feeling,
Yeah,
but not when you're trying to survive and not get your ass shot off.
yeah. So I shut that off. I hated that
Yeah.
like right off the bat. And then yeah, just on a personal level, um, it's a little too simmy for me to enjoy. I already don't like competitive shooters that much, and I get lost very easily in games. The map is ginormous, and these aren't negatives to the game, but as a personal impression, it's hard for me to enjoy it because I'm getting lost all the time. Um, the killing aspect where like you get no notification like that you have killed, and it is a cool realism thing. I don't want them to take that out. I just definitely recognize that it's not for me. I don't enjoy that aspect of the game. I actually find it frustrating. um, I do like uh the kill times. I do think that is a good thing. I do appreciate when games, if you're gonna do bullet spongy things, it has to make sense. Like in Halo, it makes sense. You have an overshield, right? But when you're just a dude, you shouldn't be able to take rounds, and I really appreciate that in any shooter.
People got amazing. It's amazing how varied people's opinions on that are because every Call of Duty comes out and they all have different TTKs, and everybody's always going like, "Last game's TTK was better. This game's TTK is better." Blah 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 blah. And I, I'm a big fan of tactical shooters, so like if you can get killed in one shot, I don't give a fuck. But a lot of people hate that shit.
Well,
And then
and
the opposite spectrum, fucking, you got Gears of War or Halo. I definitely prefer Halo, in which it is baked into the gameplay how that TTK works. You can kill people quickly with certain powerful weapons or
right,
with a
right.
melee strike. But yeah, if you're playing like a normal game, nothing is more fucking frustrating for me in an FPS than shooting a dude like 5 or 6 times then he fucking dies. I feel like it just feels fucking stupid.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Because even like Destiny 2, which is essentially from the people who made Halo,
Yeah, it
it
plays like
it
Halo.
feels good.
Yeah,
Like so, um,
and
really,
Bungie knows how to make an FPS.
for sure. So, that being said, I do appreciate that aspect of it, and camouflage works in this game.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
dude. I
I laid
fucking
in the grass and lost people. It was great.
yeah.
So it's really good in that regard.
People like sitting still behind cover, nothing highlights them.
Yeah,
So like they can just be popping out. I'd see a dude's head with a helmet. I'm like, is that a fucking dude? And I'd shoot it, and then like he'd like run away or he'd die, or sometimes it wasn't a dude, and I'm like, you gotta fucking be on your shit in this game.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of appreciation for a lot of things they're doing. I just think overall it's a little too sim-like for me to the point where I'm not really enjoying it. I do kind of lean more towards Battlefield in that regard. Um, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think they should change it. Just first impressions wise, I don't really see myself returning to this game, even on PC. Um,
Yeah, I'd be surprised if you like picked up this game and start playing it.
yeah,
That would
it's
blow
it's
my
just
mind.
really not up my alley. But I appreciate what they're doing, and I think they are doing a good job, and I hope they do well with it. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how people jive with different things because like I like normal FPSs too or different varieties of them. It's easy to please me with an FPS. Also, it's easy to piss me off with one because there's so many of them or have been so many that if you make like a lame one, it's like, what are you doing? You can't bring this to the table now. Uh, but I fucking love tactical shooters. I love shooting and not knowing if I killed a guy unless I can confirm it. I love like having to take cover because I know I can just die instantly. I love being able to actually lay down and camo actually matters. Some games you have camos on, there's bushes, but you're sitting on, you can see their fucking gun poking out and doing a bunch of
right,
weird shit. And like I love battles in games where like I'm laying in a fucking field, a dude was shooting at me. I got like 5 other people behind me. They can't really make it out there, or they're laying in the field too. And you're slowly just cruising across there, like crawling, and like you're crawling for like 10 fucking minutes. But then you get up there and you kill the guys, and it just pays off. Like that kind of tension. That's the reason why I play Hunt as well. Is like there's just these long, drawn out firefights that feel so much more impactful because death is coming so easily compared to Call of Duty is the exact opposite. Death doesn't matter. That's why I like playing Search and Destroy in Call of Duty because you're out if you die. But
yeah, it's funny because Call of Duty is definitely the extreme opposite.
yeah,
I also don't like that, so
yeah,
I definitely like a middle ground.
something in between.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I get
um,
that.
or I like the super like sci-fi ones. Like I think as much as I don't really play a lot of Destiny because they can't seem to figure out a direction to go with that game half the time.
Yeah,
I
I
think Destiny feels good.
wish they could throw out like a big exciting feature for that game.
I mean, they release stuff all the time, and then the community
Con-
loves, hates, loves, hates,
Content,
loves,
yeah, but I
hates.
want like some new fucking thing that's like crazy, like whoa, this is the reason I have to come back.
Yeah, but it is one of the few games where I have done the PvP aspect of it, and I was like, this feels really good.
That shit's unplayable on console, and I play on PC. I'm like, oh fuck, I can actually get into the PvP on this.
Yeah, it feels really nice. And then yeah, Halo is another example of an FPS I enjoy. So
Hmm.
those are more my speed, and it probably comes from you know uh, spending a lot of time like Quake and stuff like that growing up. So,
Yeah,
uh, but yeah, I like I said, I do appreciate it, and I actually I get why someone would be into it, like that rush, I guess.
dude, there's nothing fucking like it. Like it so many games are not like this that like when you find one, it's like so good. Like fucking Arma 2. I remember when I was first getting into Arma 2 and I tried to get friends into it. And I'm like, this is not, this is like a sim fucking tactical game. Like,
Hmm.
you can't even run and shoot at the same time. You have to like stop to aim and stuff. Like, I was like, if you hear a bullet snap, hit the ground instantly because you can die.
Yeah.
And I remember playing with people and they just be like, where are they at? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like laying on the ground looking at them while they're standing there. I'm like, we don't know yet. Get down.
Yeah.
Like the game's not going to tell us. There's no fucking radar that's going to
Right.
tell us.
Right.
I fucking love that shit. It's my favorite. But it's why what Ubisoft's doing with their fucking Tom Clancy games bothers me, obviously. But that's another topic. Anything else you want to say on that?
No, I mean, if you got this on PS5 and it's up your alley, I don't think you're really gonna get a whole lot of games that are like this on there. So
Yeah. Though if you can go play on PC because this game is like I'm stoked it's on console. If that's the only way you can play it, you have access to this, and that's awesome. And you're probably gonna play it enough to get good and get your aim down in this game in particular, and your recoil and stuff. I just opted into not doing that because I prefer it on PC, but it is cool it's on here.
yeah,
Because yeah, there's not a whole lot of a lot of fucking games like it. Is Insurgency on console? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Because Insurgency is fucking huge on Steam. Insurgency and Insurgency 2.
Hmm.
Those are also very hardcore co-op shooters. There's multiplayer. Everybody plays co-op. It's a lot of fun because you go against like NPCs that are fucking ruthless. Um, yeah. So jump into recommendations.
Sure. I mean, obviously, if you're into more tactical style shooters, I think it's a good choice. If you like the idea of needing to confirm your kills or being able to camouflage or like being able to tell distance and stuff like that from bullet sounds and stuff like that. I mean, the game is very like going for that realism thing. So I would definitely suggest for people who are looking for that. Um, the the era of it as well. The was that World War II, correct?
Yeah.
World War II games.
Civil War, dude.
I know for some people they think there's still a million of these games being made, and there's not. I think it's kind of weird, but if you are looking for another game in that, I would for sure want to. I would recommend this. If you want something that is very heavily cooperative, because you do need to work with squads and stuff like that to take checkpoints. I mean, when we played, that one checkpoint was going back and forth pretty much the whole mission. It was pretty rough.
Love it.
Um,
Love it.
so it's not going to be an easy victory. You have to play with people, otherwise you're going to get steamrolled. So
Yeah, don't try and solo this. So you'll get a couple kills, so you're not going to be effective. You're not going to help the match.
yeah, I don't really know how else to say it to. I mean, it's pretty specific kind of shooter.
100%. I wouldn't recommend this to most people, honestly. If you are curious, though, about more hardcore, tactical, realistic esque shooters, specifically in World War II, this game is for you. I think it's probably one of the better ones out there, for sure. So if you're into those or if you're curious about them, check it out. If you don't like small TTKs, if you don't like more slow paced firefights and combat, you're not going to like this game. And if you don't like being as involved in having to check your map for coordinates, listen for commands, and rely on other people to set up things to benefit your team for you, class roles like playing to your role, you're probably not going to be into this. But if you are into that, if you like the idea of playing to a role, being a grenadier or a rifleman or a sharpshooter or like a fucking commander or whatever, you're gonna love this. It's got a very strong hierarchical system of who's in charge and who's not. That if done well enough, doesn't really have a whole lot of rivals out there. There's not a whole lot of games out there that do it. So it's very cool. I'm glad they put a lot of work into that. But yeah, it's really hard to recommend this game because you're either into this game or you're not. This is not a game for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's grade it.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Um, my personal preferences aside, it is a very well made game, and it has a lot of things that you could tell they wanted to convey, and I think they did. My only hesitation is giving it like a crazy high grade would be I do think it has some room for improvement on console. That being in the department of aiming and maybe enticing people to want to use the communication a little more.
Yeah,
I
everybody's
don't
in
know
party
how
chat.
you would do that, but uh, it really obviously lends itself to that, and that is going to be more on the community and less on the game itself, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard for me to put on them. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd give it a B plus. I think it feels good, but I think it could be better feeling. So
I agree 100%. I'm also giving it a B plus because I think it's a completely solid game. I think it looks great, plays great. I admire all the systems involved with it, but I did not enjoy shooting guns in it on console. I know how the guns feel on other things, so I do have a point of reference there. But also, I've played every FPS uh, on console, and they do it better than these guys did. So hopefully they can fine tune that. It is something that made the game borderline unplayable for me in the long run. But outside of that, B plus for what it's offering specifically on console and the quality of it, and give an experience that is pretty rare. So yeah, B plus, easy B plus. Anything else?
nope.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think of Hell Let Loose. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Are you sick of World War II games? Are you still cool with them? I seem to be the only person on the planet who does not have the thought of I'm sick of World War II games because even though I'm bored of the World War II games were being offered, we're just not getting good ones. If only we were getting good ones, then you wouldn't be saying that. But they are more limited than modern games. But are you done with them or not? Let me know in the comments everything you're thinking about. And yeah, last game we played was Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat 10. If you don't know what that is, it is a fighting game with fatalities, ways to murder people after you fight them. I mean, if you don't know what Mortal Kombat is, you they haven't been following gaming since the 90s, early 90s, like 1992, because it's very famous. Yeah, you pick from an assorted roster of characters, a lot of them very martial arts esque, a lot of ninjas with masks on, very time appropriate nowadays, getting those masks on. And yeah, you beat each other up, you murder each other. There's a robust campaign that NetherRealm is known for now in their games. It has full cinematics. You can sit there and watch for 20 minutes a cutscene. It's fucking wild. Um, and yeah, a lot of things to unlock, a lot of side things to do. We both played it, and yeah, who went first last time?
Me.
Okay. So, yeah, my impressions of Mortal Kombat X. It's really funny. There's been so many Mortal Kombats that going into this one, I was like, is this the one I've played or the one I didn't play? Mortal Kombat 11, I haven't played. I never picked it up because I heard pretty mixed things about it when it came out, and I'd be open to playing it. But I was like, am I finally going to get to play that or not? I didn't get to play it. But I did play Mortal Kombat X, and it's a game that I've played in the past, actually quite a bit. When I started up, I went to my campaign, and I was on like chapter fucking 8 or 9 already, and I was like, there's probably like fucking 20 or 30 chapters, but like I'd played the game, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm already into the story. So I'd played it in the past. I dabbled in the campaign a little bit to remind myself on fucking why NetherRealm's the best when it comes to storytelling and fighting games, and everybody else is just trying to do what they're doing, which they should. They should completely copy them, or just being left behind in a genre that was stagnant for a while.
A lot of them now.
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah. But it's because of NetherRealm, because
Yeah.
fucking nobody was telling stories and fighting games like them. And then they started doing it. I was like, holy shit. Whether you like the story or not, the effort they put into their campaign is fucking wild. Not even just for fighting games. Just the writing and the set pieces and the action. You're watching a movie. It's really cool. And then you're playing a fighting game in between, and it's a really good system. Combat feels like Mortal Kombat. You haven't heard or played Mortal Kombat before for some reason because you're an alien. Mortal Kombat has kind of a. I mean, it makes sense for the time they came out. It has more of a Street Fighter feel to it. It's a little more stiff and calculated. It's not as combo heavy, in my opinion, as like Street Fighter, but you're relying a lot on moves. positioning. You're not running across the fucking screen when you're fighting people. So there's a lot of like where you're at. You got to figure out how to do things or flip towards them or dash towards them real quick. But there's the mobility in Mortal Kombat's not really up there, which is always kind of not the best for me because I prefer fighting games that I can really fucking run everywhere. Tekken, Soul Calibur, fucking Guilty Gear. I like games with high mobility. But yeah, the moves are really cool and varied. There's a lot of characters in this game, and they all got a lot of really cool moves. They also have, with this edition, a Xenomorph, Jason Voorhees, I think, Michael Myers, I think, was one. Uh, Somebody else with a fucking, I don't remember.
Probably some more WBO and stuff.
Yeah, all that kind of shit. Which they all felt like afterthought characters. I tried them all, but it's cool they're there. The Xenomorph bothered me though because he just did not act like a Xenomorph. He just looked like a dude in a Xenomorph costume. Um, yeah, so played the campaign for a little bit. I also did the Towers mode, traditional Mortal Kombat fare, where you just go up the tower fighting people. Last boss is really fucking annoying, as they always are in fighting games. I hate fighting game bosses because they just are all like, well, we can't just keep making him harder, so you're gonna have to fight him, and then he's gonna get a new health bar. You're gonna fight him again, and then you're gonna get another health bar, and you're gonna fight him
Or
again. I'm
have
like,
moves you don't have access to.
yeah, or fucking they're gonna spam the same hardcore move over and over again. I'm like, this isn't even a challenge. This is fucking cheap. And I did feel that way when I was fighting whatever his fucking name is. Um, and yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say on it because we kind of bring up Mortal Kombat a lot on the channel anyway. I'm a big fan of what they've done with these games. I haven't played 11, so I can't really talk on that. But I think 10, if anything, if the things I hear about 11 is true, 10 is probably the really the pinnacle of where they went with Mortal Kombat. I think it's a fucking solid game, especially if you like Mortal Kombat's combat style. Of course, every fighting game has its own thing, and I prefer the more 3D ones anyway. But well, I guess it's 3D, but 3D perspective, not the 2D perspective. But yeah, if you're into that, this game's completely solid in what it offers. It's far and beyond what most fighting games offer. Even now, it's not even the newest Mortal Kombat, and it's still so ahead of its time. Um, and yeah, I had a blast playing it, but at the same time, because Mortal Kombat, this isn't something I'll dock it for. This is just my preference. Mortal Kombat's not my favorite fighting game. It's not Street Fighter. I don't like Street Fighter. I like Street Fighter, but I don't like playing it. But Mortal Kombat's not my speed when it comes to the way it plays. And the whole time I was playing it, I was like, man, I could go play Soul Calibur fucking right now. I could go play Tekken. I could go play this or that. So, but it's cool. It's cool playing a fighting game. And in fact, that reminds me, we should add a fighting game to the game of the month list because I forgot how much I fucking liked fighting games. But fun game, full of content. Had a blast.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, similar start to mine. I wasn't sure which one this was, and upon turning it on and checking out the graveyard or crypt or whatever it's called, where you spend your hard earned currency to unlock stuff. A lot of things were already purchased, so this is the one I played.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I actually really like this game. I am a huge fan of 2D perspective fighting games. They are definitely my cup of tea. The 3D ones are also fun. Asterisk. I don't like all of them, but I do enjoy Soul Calibur and Tekken as examples. Um,
I mean, they're also 2D perspective, but like in Soul Calibur, you can
your
fucking
3D movement.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Tekken's combat is like Dark Souls. It's like fucking
Well, it's hitbox.
hitbox porn. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you can really dodge a fucking kick.
Uh, but yeah, speed wise, I'm definitely. I think Mortal Kombat's about as slow as I can get in a fighting game. I
Yeah.
do prefer things like Dead or Alive or Guilty Gear. Those are more my speed.
Ooh, they're
Uh,
alive. Love it.
but that being said, I actually really enjoyed Mortal Kombat. I think it was 9 and 10. I liked both of them, but we're talking about 10, so I really enjoyed it. I found the character Devora to be my favorite in this title, which is kind of strange because I've been kind of a Sub-Zero player my whole life, and then as I dabbled in other fighting games, and then took a huge break from Mortal Kombat, coming into this, discovering this character that honestly I was going to just pass over, but I like to try them all. Really enjoyed that character. I also appreciate that even within each character, there are subtle changes you can make by changing your stance or whatever
Yeah, three like
it's called.
archetypes.
Yeah, and that does modify your moves a little bit, so you can kind of like fine tune and find your play style the way you like it.
Which is wild thinking from a developer standpoint that you made all these characters and then you made variations of those
You
characters.
technically have whatever the amount of characters is in the roster
Yeah,
times
times
three.
three.
It's pretty insane. The guest characters all are garbage in my opinion. Like I'm not a hardcore fighter. Maybe someone out there who knows the inner workings of fighting game might disagree with me, but from my perspective, I just thought they all felt cashed in.
Yeah. They like I said, they felt like afterthoughts. It was like throw a xenomorph in there. People like xenomorphs.
I'm also not a huge fan of that kind of stuff in fighting games, anyways, because it is definitely a pandering. It's not a we wanted to make this character for our game type of thing.
Well, I'm mixed on it because in Soul Calibur is always fun finding out who the guest fighters are going to be, but they were always cheap
Yeah, I
feeling. Their
hated it
moves
in
were
that game.
overpowered. Yoda was fucking ridiculous. Darth Vader was ridiculous. Fucking all these characters that they added to Soul Calibur were always like way OP. Like it was ridiculous. Um, but yeah, it's still cool to see him in there. I mean, in the more modern ones like Geralt, I actually think was pretty well balanced, but they kind of made a big deal about him.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I still don't like it, but yeah, he was balanced.
yeah,
Yeah. it just it takes me out of it. They don't belong in that world. Like,
yeah, no, I
so
agree.
that's where my brain goes with it. It makes sense in something like Smash Bros because that's what's that called? Theme park, anyways. So, um, yeah, and then features. I mean, Mortal Kombat sets the standard for features in a fighting game. Like, um, one of the things I always I'm a huge Guilty Gear fan, but one thing I've complained about ever since they got away from the Double Cross series is like they've put less and less features in their games, and it really bums me out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Featureless Fighter sucks because like the fighting is obviously fun, but like one of my favorite things about even like Soul Calibur 2 back in the day was like all the unlockable shit.
mhm.
It was like a blast fucking playing the game, having fun, but also working towards stuff. And like that's pretty standard in a lot of games, but I feel like Soul Calibur and fucking Mortal Kombat lead the pack in
100%.
stuff to unlock. Like DOA, you can go buy some outfits with real money.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fucking
you can.
that's a feature.
There's like over 800 DLCs for the last one.
And Tekken you can also buy shit for, but like Soul Calibur's always had like cool modes where you can unlock things and like the crypt they've been doing for a long time on Mortal Kombat,
And it's huge.
and that's always been awesome. It's always
Yeah.
been cool to physically explore something and unlock things.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think every fighting game should have something. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be that system, but something like that with something to go towards if you are doing the single player aspect of it, or even earning that stuff in multiplayer, whatever. And I know a lot of people buy these games; they just want to get online and start versing people, and
Yeah.
that's totally fine. But that already exists in these games.
Yeah.
Like so, for a person like me, I'm not super competitive, but I still enjoy the gameplay aspect of it. Mortal Kombat just kind of shows me this stuff is completely possible to have this feature rich fighter, and it is the gold standard in that
Hmm.
regard. So I really think it deserves a lot of credit in that regard. It's graphically gorgeous. The animations are really good. The in interactive environments is fun. Being able to like grab like an old lady and throw them at people, or like throw the other person into like a bell in the background or
Yeah, the
whatever.
environmental stuff's really interesting.
Map changing mid fight stuff like that. I that stuff it just makes it feel more impactful and dynamic, and it's a lot of fun. So
It does add variables too. Like I don't like when fighting games try and get too simple for like casual players to be able to fight somebody who's high skilled and just be able to do like a finisher in one button. But I do like that it does do a really good job on spotlighting the fighting, which is the most important thing, obviously. But then there's the environmental stuff that someone can throw at you real quick,
mm.
or the I forget what they're called, but they're not fatalities, but they're like the X-ray moves,
Oh yeah. I don't know what to call it either,
um,
but I know.
which other fighting games do similar things where you just can take chunks off their health real quick, and you can kind of save it for like a oh shit situation, but you have to like nail it. If you miss them, you miss. But all those things make combat I think more accessible for everybody, but also more importantly for me, adds that dynamic to the fights that isn't just who knows all the combos.
When it adds impact, right? And it's
Yeah.
like kind of like how Dead or Alive adds impact by having like really heavy hits and like the sound effects go with it too. So you feel like you're
Yeah, or
like
you could fucking launch somebody out
slugging
of a
someone.
map into another map, and then they
Yeah.
fucking take damage when they hit the ground and shit. Like, there's all these things that are like big surprises. Like, oh fuck, that happened.
Yeah, and it makes it exciting,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And I think Mortal Kombat is really good at that. So, um, yeah, I think it's a great game. But I've played it, so I didn't put a lot of time into it this month. So,
Yeah, I'll be honest with. I spent a day. I put hours into it, but I spent a day playing it
yeah,
just to revisit it.
yeah, that's my impression. So,
Yeah, and then I did mine, right? Okay. So,
recommendation.
because I was listening to you, I was like, yeah, I agree with all that. Um, yeah, it's an awesome game. Recommendations. Yeah, if you like fighting games, I think it's a must. Unless you just do not like Mortal Kombat's combat. I know somebody who
Or the
played it, or the gore, yeah, but I don't know a whole lot of people like that, but I'm sure there's plenty. I know somebody this month who played it, and they played it, and they went, I forgot how much I hate Mortal Kombat,
interesting.
like gameplay wise. You
Yeah,
know, I'm sure they appreciate everything else about it, but combat wise, they don't enjoy it, which I understand. I'm the exact same way with Street Fighter. I wish I could like Street Fighter, but I don't enjoy playing it.
right, right.
And it's
No, it makes
fucking
sense. It's just
classic and legendary. I get all that. I had to convince myself that it was okay to not be into fuck Street Fighter because I'm like, I don't like Street Fighter. What the fuck is
yeah,
wrong with me, man? It's like the fighting game. Um, so yeah, I get that, but it's a tuition own thing. So yeah, if you're into fighting games though, I think it's one of the best ones in recent time, easily. Although lately there's a bunch of great fighting games again, so that's awesome. Like
yeah, for
we're
sure.
really in a soft renaissance for fighting games. If you like gore, if you like horror characters make it into games, you're just into that like crazy fucking visceral skulls cracking and heads getting chopped off, people getting ripped in half. They're very creative with the fucking
It's
fatalities.
a little too creative sometimes.
Still, man, they've been making fatalities for fucking ever, and they're still making the classic ones,
Yeah, they're very
variations of the
ruthless.
classic ones, and brand new ones, and it's very impressive. So if you're into gore, if you like horror movies, and I brought up the horror movie characters because they're there too, and I think it kind of goes hand in hand when you're somebody who's into gore. I know people who watch horror movies just for the gore. That's not me, but you know, I know people like that. Definitely check it out. But I don't gotta tell you, it's fucking Mortal Kombat. You know that. If you like a lot of unlockables, things to work towards, games that you can play with friends. Obviously, fighting games go back. You know, some of the OG fight against people games. Definitely for you. Yeah, I mean it's a fighting game. It's hard to recommend to everybody, but it's also Mortal Kombat, so you kind of can recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, I would also just add as well, if you're into the idea of a fighting game, but you're just not super competitive, the game offers a large amount of single player content. So,
Yeah.
including a gold standard campaign for the genre. So,
Yeah, if you're into fucking movies, like if you like Naughty Dog games and you like the cinematic nature of them, play fucking Mortal Kombat. It's weird to say, but it's like a super cinematic experience and it's entertaining. You could probably have somebody hang out with you and just watch you play it and be entertained by it the same way as somebody watching someone play fucking Uncharted 4 or something. It's kind of crazy.
yeah, they did a really good job. Um,
The story's out there, but it's fun.
making a cohesive story.
Hmm.
So,
Especially with 9 when they kind of like rewrote
yeah, it
history
was
and
great.
yeah. It's
So,
really smart shit. And then Injustice, they did a really good job with. Like fucking, they're just on the shit. I have not played 11. I feel like I should, but some people were disappointed with it. It's crazy. The only person I know who didn't dislike it was Chris.
yeah.
So he's the only person I heard say anything positive about it, which fucking was scary. It kind of felt like the Battlefield 5 thing where some decisions were made and then controversies were bound.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're not following that kind of stuff, it's not going to sour your opinion on stuff. So,
Sure, yeah. If you could play the game blind, that'd probably be the best way to have played it. But I got to see all the controversy over it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna touch this game for now.
yeah.
But maybe we'll get on PlayStation Plus. Uh, other recommendations. It's kind of tough because
It
it's
is what
a
it
very
is.
hard genre game.
Oh, just like the last game
Yep.
and the one
Uh,
before it.
yep. Which we do, if in case you don't know, we do a best month of PlayStation Plus every year to kind of, find out what we think is the best month of that year. And This is a pretty solid month. There's some pretty solid months in the
A lot of
early,
variety.
early part of this year, and then some kind of tapered off, some big bangers, but some weaker ones in that month as well. But this month, I feel like, I mean, we've been grading all these pretty high, and it's a good variety. So I feel like this was a pretty decent month for PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely did a better job than like in the past where they were like, here, have a couple story games in the same month. I'm
Yeah,
like,
or here
why?
have
Why would you do that?
two shooters, or
Yeah.
here, yeah, it's like, what are you doing? Like, let's fucking spread it out a bit.
Yeah.
Should we jump into grades?
Yeah.
Who you?
I'll go. Yeah. I'm actually gonna give it an A minus. I think Mortal Kombat is just a fantastic game. I personally have almost no complaints about it. Um, Honestly, most of my complaints are going to be based off of things they're doing because they're making money doing it, which is guest characters. They have financial incentive to do these things. So I get it. I just don't like it. So um, yeah, I really nothing else bad to say about it. It is just a good game. I love the pace of it. I think they made a fighting game that stands out on its own and is something that people can use as inspiration when they decide to make their own fighting games. Hopefully, they don't copy it, but good source of inspiration, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently we're just agreeing across the board on this episode. I'm also giving it an A minus. It was easy for me to come to that conclusion. We've talked up many times whether you like the characters or dislike the characters, or like the combat or dislike the combat, or dislike the fatalities or love the fatalities. The template of Mortal Kombat is what other fighting games strive to be at this point. It is a suite of content, just full of shit to do. Um, a campaign that really is trying to give you something extra that they didn't even need to do 50% of it. Um, and just the sheer amount of content, AAA design, um, Mortal Kombat X and 9 are like, and I can't talk on 11, but we're talking about X or 10 here, is a game that very much respects you as a fan of the series, and it's trying to give you something that you can really fucking sink your teeth into. This game, if you just sit down and start playing it, you can fucking really spend some time with it, and just kind of time will fucking melt. It's a real easy game to keep playing. And this is coming from somebody who's not particularly does not prefer the combat in Mortal Kombat compared to other fighting games, but it's a solid game. And outside of the combat, that's not my favorite. I wish every fighting game was trying to do something this robust. It doesn't have to copy it, like you said, but take notes. Use it as a template, because it is really a fighting game that respects the person playing it. It's trying to give you something awesome. So easy A minus. I would go A, but I'm not in love with it. But I think it's well beyond a B. It's the peak of fucking fighting games. Like, outside of the fighting aspect, whether you prefer it or not, what it offers and the quality of what it offers is just higher than everybody else. And anybody else who's doing it is doing it because they did it pretty much outside of Soul Calibur. But even Soul Calibur doesn't offer as much. So, but I would say they're definitely second to that. Better game though. A minus, yeah, easy, easy. So two A minuses. Pretty much graded everything the same this episode.
Except for the first one.
What did we? Oh, I gave it a B and you gave it a B plus, or vice versa. I don't fucking remember.
Maybe it was the same.
Yeah, I don't remember. Go back to the beginning episode if you're curious about it, like me. I'll check it out once I edit it. That's gonna do it for this episode of Plus Club. Let me know what you thought of that game. Is it your favorite Mortal Kombat? Is it not? Do you like 11? Should I play it? And what do you like or dislike about Mortal Kombat? And yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of Plus Club. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on our socials, links down below, streams and all that stuff you can see there. Also, our Discord is linked down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us, you're fucking driving, you're working, you're not going to watch it anyway. You can hear what we have to say, and always feel welcome to come over to YouTube and comment if you want. And yeah, we have Patreon. If you'd like to support this channel, more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, if you're brand new, definitely feel welcome to join the community. And yeah, my name's Seth. Chevy, thank you for filming 2 episodes with me in the same day. Now I gotta edit those 2 episodes. I'm very excited about that.
Still have a React one we gotta do at some point too.
Yeah, videos keep dropping. We gotta do that soon. And then we got a taste cast in a week. So until then, stay tuned and have a good one, guys, and take it easy.